Welcome in, everyone, and thank you for joining us for Fantasy Football Office Hours. I am Professor Simon, joined as always by the very handsome Professor Joey Wright. What's up, Joey?
Hey, listen, I am here. I'm excited. I'm ready to answer some questions. Hanging out with my buddies. Let's go.
It felt so unnatural to bring my energy down to that level at the beginning. Like I'm sitting here like shaking, wanting to just scream like, "What's up, everyone?"
I thought you had to fart, and I was like, "Oh no, here we go."
Oh, it's like holding a fart in. It's the same feeling holding that intro scream in. Guys, also joining us today, we have great friend and great analyst LaDarius Brown on with us. For those of you that do not know LaDarius, you can find him on Twitter at LaDarius_Brown, right there below his handsome face on the screen. Mm-hmm. He is a writer and podcaster over at Beyond Women's Sports, a contributor at Blog and Dirty covering the Atlanta Falcons, and the senior analyst over at Sportskeeda Pro Football. LaDarius, thank you so much for joining us today, my man.
Absolutely. You know, when you guys are on here, big fan of both of you guys, having fun, answering some questions, you know, have an excuse to wear my casual wrestling shirt. So
beautiful.
Always a good time.
LaDarius, your wore a wrestling shirt. What am I doing?
Even if we had never met you, your bio would have just ingratiated you with the Front Yard Fantasy team because it says pro wrestling fan, Jeopardy nerd. Like you just checked all the boxes for Front Yard Fantasy. You know what I mean? Like you got Joey, check. You got me, check with the Jeopardy. Like we're good to go. We're rolling with LaDarius. Guys, we got some questions in the chat, and we're going to be here for the next hour doing nothing but answering your questions. So throw them in there. We are more than happy to get to them for you. Before we do that, though, a couple reminders. Number one, make sure you're following our guest LaDarius over on Twitter. Truly one of the kindest and smartest people in this space. He's on Twitter at LaDarius_Brown. You're not going to want to be not following this man. After you do that, if you're watching this video, first of all, thank you so much for being here. Second of all, go ahead and hit that like button if you like what we're doing. If we've helped you out, it's the easiest way to show your support. And make sure you're subscribed to Front Yard Fantasy so you don't miss any of the other stuff that we're putting out here. LaDarius, Joey dipped, said I'm done with these two. But I think you and I can handle this first question. Grim fan wanted to know McLaurin. So Terry McLaurin, Deonta Foreman, or Raheem Mostert in half PPR. Start one. Which of those three would you be rolling out this week?
Oh, wow.
This is tough. This is a relatively tough one to start off with.
You know, I'm very partial toward wide receivers. So naturally I'd lean toward McLaurin.
Yeah.
But if given a choice, I'd
Joey comes back, outfit change mid-show with the wrestling shirt on. I thought that ghost would leave you alone after Halloween, Joey.
She's always after me.
LaDarius, are you going with McLaurin or are you rolling with Foreman or Mostert here?
I'm going to roll with McLaurin. It's a tough decision, but I'm definitely going to roll with McLaurin.
These are three great options, Grim fan, for you to plug in this week. Like I like Foreman this week after he blew up last week. He's got a decent matchup against Cincinnati. Raheem Mostert, Joey, you've talked about it ad nauseum that you love Raheem Mostert this week going up against Chicago.
I've got him as the top 15 he's top 15 running back for me. He's one spot ahead of Foreman. I still think I'm going to start McLaurin. I like what him and Heineke, the rapport they have together. Why am I winded getting a t-shirt out of my closet? Come on, Joey.
Is that the worst feeling? Like whenever I get up to go to the fridge, that's why I stopped wearing my Apple Watch because it kept calling me fat over and over again. Like it pissed me off. All it did was distract me and insult me. Like it would ding and I would lose track of my work. And then 10 minutes later, I'd get up to walk to the fridge and it would be like, look like you're exercising. Maybe take a break. Like, no, I'm just getting a snack. Stop yelling at me. I think I'm going McLaurin here as well, but I don't mind the Mostert start. Grim fan, if those two running backs are on your bench, then you've been playing the waiver wire pretty well and probably drafted pretty well as well. Looking pretty hot. Grim had another question for us. Wanted to know full PPR, DK Metcalf, Terry McLaurin, Christian Kirk, or Chase Claypool. Start two. Joey, which two of those would you be rolling out there?
I'm going back to McLaurin. I got Metcalf one spot behind him. Metcalf and McLaurin then for me for the two.
It's Metcalf and McLaurin for me as well. What about you, LaDarius?
Yeah, I'll make it a clean sweep. It's definitely
nice.
Clean sweep. Also, Strong Style Ninja in here. What's up, Ninja? Said we need a fart intro. I mean, you'll probably get one just by the nature of my being at some point with how much we stream, but it has not happened yet. And Mr. Scamper's in here with the wardrobe change.
Yeah.
Joe, I'm expecting every 10 minutes another wardrobe change now. Like you just keep
I've got
coming
enough
back.
wrestling shirts in my closet right now.
Yeah.
Dave is in here joining us. What's up, Dave? Welcome in. Glad to have you in
what's
here.
What's up, buddy?
Glad to have you in here. And we got some more questions.
Okay.
This one coming from Strong Style Ninja. He wants to know if Cordero Patterson is active, do you start him? So, LaDarius, how do you feel about Cordero Patterson coming back from injury? There's reports he says he feels good, and it's up in the air whether or not he's going to play this Sunday.
I mean, if he's active, it's a no-brainer to start him. I think one of the things that obviously Atlanta has done very well all season is run the football. And it kind of seems no matter who you kind of put back there, but it's good to have a Cordero Patterson back there. I believe they're third in like rushing attempts, or they're in the top 5 in rushing attempts. So put Cordero, and then plus he does so many other things. I think that's what I really like about Cordero. I'm not trying to be partial because I'm the Falcons fan.
Yeah.
But I just think we're looking at Cordero Patterson. If he's healthy and if he says he can go, and if he checks the box, I mean, why not? Because right now I think Atlanta is going to kind of hit a stride when you kind of look. I think they're facing a Chargers defense that not as great as people thought they were. We thought with the Khalil Mack acquisition, we thought they would be better, but they've given up. I would kind of say unfulfilled expectations. Yeah. So try them out there if he's healthy, absolutely, because he can do so much more with the football, and he's just proven it time and time and again. It's no question to me.
Most weeks, I would say, like, if you can, hold on and wait. But I think there's going to be a lot of situations this week with 6 teams on bye where maybe you can't. And I think he is startable. In an ideal world, I would like to see him out there, see him healthy, and then plug him in the next week. But that may not be the scenario in week 9. We got 6 teams on bye, and I want to provide like comfort. I think you can start him. I agree with what you're saying, LaDarius. How do you feel about this, Joey?
So, yeah, he said, I believe it was 90%. He says, I feel like I'm 90%. And my rule of thumb is I don't ever like to start players coming back from a bye, or from an injury, I should say, if you have a good starting option. But like Simon just said, you might not be in that position this week. I think you can start him, though. It just depends who you have to start in place of him, but you might be stuck. So
we got JL in here saying,
Hi, JL.
Yo, what's up, JL? Welcome in.
Him.
Glad to have you here. I know he was just here and then he left. Also, Jordan in here with a very important question, wants to know, is Amari Cooper or DJ Moore your favorite signed jersey? It's actually neither one of those. It's the one hanging in my closet and not signed. My William the Refrigerator Perry Chicago Bears autographed jersey is my favorite signed jersey. I love the fridge. No, they don't make frames big enough for the fridge.
No, they don't.
Ninja had another question for us. Said, will Mark Andrews play Monday Night Football? Have Likely as a stash? So, Ninja, here's my question. Who cares? You've got Likely as a stash. If Andrews plays, play him. If he doesn't, play Likely. That's ideal.
You are the best case scenario right now.
Yep. Absolutely. But LaDarius, if you had to guess, do you think Mark Andrews suits up on Monday?
If you ask me today, I think how Isaiah Likely's been playing, I mean, you could sit Mark Andrews, but me personally, it's tough. But if you ask me today, if he, once again, it goes back to how healthy he is. If he's healthy enough, put him in. But it's not the worst thing in the world when you have Isaiah Likely backing you up.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
So if you're John Harbaugh, you're not really in a situation to kind of just rush him out there, where you don't trust the number 2 guy. It's not like in most situations with tight ends where the gap between your tight end 1 and your tight end 2 is like super wide. With this, the gap is close enough where if Andrews is not to your liking, you can sit him, and plus you got to look at who you're playing as well. So it's not going to be a huge loss if he doesn't play. So if you ask me personally, I wouldn't play him. If you're John Harbaugh, I would just tell him err on the side of caution. So I could kind of see Isaiah Likely just getting the start.
Yeah,
makes sense. Eric in here wanted to know PPR, Devin Duvernay or Rondale Moore rest of season. So this is with the Rashad Bateman news coming out today that he is not going to play for the rest of the year. He's out for the rest of the season. Joey, does that elevate Devin Duvernay above Rondale Moore for you, or are you still rolling with Moore?
Yeah, for me, rest of the season, I'd rather have Devin Duvernay. I kind of liked him coming into the season for best ball, just because he was like that kind of home run wide receiver. And, in best ball, hey, 3 weeks, you give me, 15 fantasy points. That's great. But he's actually kind of turned into someone that I actually like starting in general this year. And Rondell Moore's looked a lot better than I thought he was going to look coming into this season, but I'm still Devin Duvernay for me. I have them 2 spots apart for this week, though, with Duvernay.
Yeah, I think it has to be Duvernay. Me personally, I have him on my team, and I either start him, either I start him or I have him in my flex. I think that it's hard for me to pull Devin Duvernay out of the lineup because it's all about the options. When you look at the Ravens' offense, it's about no Rashad Bateman. Then who's the next person you lean on? Mm-hmm. If in terms of the receiving, outside of obviously Mark Andrews, the answer is Devin Duvernay. So I expect even more targets moving forward toward him anyway. He was already playing well. And like to your point, Rondell Moore, absolute surprise because I didn't really have him as high kind of going into the season. But I think right now I just ride with Duvernay until something drastic happens for you to convince not to do it.
Going back to that Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, I think Andrews is going to sit this week because the Ravens got to bye the following week. So I just feel like they're going to let's let Andrews rest up. We've got a comparable tight end in Likely. Let's put him out there. Let Andrews really rest up and really make a run for the playoffs, which I think the Ravens are absolutely set up to do.
And Ninja, great situation. Nice job picking up Likely with the Andrews injury. Nailed it. Mm-hmm. Grim had a question for you, LaDarius, not football related, but they said, I am going to my first women's wrestling army event this weekend, ran by Maria Kanellis-Bennett. Is it any good? Do you know if it's any good?
Oh, it's good. I haven't been to one late, but it's anything with Maria Kanellis-Bennett behind it. It's good. She's not only she doesn't get the credit she does as a wrestler, but as one like a promoter, fantastic. So
I met Maria at WrestleMania 33 weekend, and Mike Bennett was sitting at the table. And you at the WrestleCon, you get to pay to take a picture or autograph. And I'd already met Mike Bennett like 2 weeks before an event, and I was like, "Hey, Mike, I apologize. I'm not gonna, I'm here to meet Maria." And he's like, "That's okay, man. The money all goes to the same place." I'm like, "All right, cool, buddy."
Yeah, exactly. The same bank account. Yeah.
So. We had a question in here from Rainbow Six God wanted to know, hey guys, quick question. Start 2, please. Deion Jackson with JT not having practice so far this week. Jamal Williams, whether Swift's there or not, or Deonta Foreman, if Chuba is there or not. I think if this is me, I'm probably rolling out Jamal Williams and Deonta Foreman, whether or not JT is playing. I know Deion Jackson smashed last time JT was out. But he's got Sam Ehlinger under center, and I don't think he's going to see the receiving work that he saw with Matt Ryan. And it's a tougher matchup for him this week than it was that previous time. So I'm rolling those 2 guys out. What do you think, Joey?
Oh, absolutely. It's Jamal Williams and Deonta Foreman for me. Deion Jack, I don't really like him this week against the Patriots. But yeah, I got Williams and Foreman ahead of him.
LaDarius, are you agreeing? Are you rolling out Deion Jackson?
Deion Jackson is tempting. It really is. But I think you kind of go with what you know situation, and I know Jamal Williams and I know Deonta Foreman enough to be comfortable to go with them. Not to say that Deion Jackson is not going to do well, but to your point, who you have under center kind of matters, and Sam Ehlinger just doesn't do it for me. So I'd stick with Jamal Williams. I'd stick with Deonta Foreman just to be safe.
Makes sense. TS in here want to know, should I trade away Josh Allen, Brandon Ayuk, and Mike Williams for Stephon Diggs and DeAndre Hopkins? They lost Jamar Chase and Mike Williams to injury, and they've got Tua as their backup quarterback. They're currently 4-4 in a PPR league. LaDarius, are you making this move if you're TS? It looks like a 1 quarterback league, I'm assuming.
Boy, this is tough. Because as someone who is a Josh Allen owner in a PPR, this is tough. I mean, God, I'm for Diggs and D-Hop. Personally, I'm leaning no. I'm like literally 51-49. It's to me. It just feels. To me, it's the Josh Allen.
I get it. Josh Allen is a differentiator, right?
I've gotten offers for Josh Allen in another league, I'm in, and it's like you get close to hitting that send button, but you're like, you kind of pull the mouse away, and that's how I kind of feel. So I wouldn't do it, just because you got to think long term. I just wouldn't do it.
I think
I could put myself to do it.
I'm dying right now.
This one's so close, but I think I am going to do it. And the reason why is because they've got Tua as that backup quarterback. And I think Tua is a great start rest of season. Not Josh Allen, don't hear me wrong. But in a one quarterback league, if you have a serviceable backup and you can leverage your starter to upgrade at these other positions, I'm about it. I'm okay.
Yeah.
And this is a clear upgrade getting Diggs and D-Hop. It hurts to trade away Josh Allen, but I am high on Tua rest of year, probably a little bit higher than consensus. So I think I'd make the trades, yes, but that's a ballsy trade. That's a big boy trade.
Yeah.
Can you imagine rolling up to the playoffs because Jamar Chase is going to be back? They didn't put him on IR with Jamar Chase, Stephon Diggs, and DeAndre Hopkins. Your opponent will be so upset with you.
Yeah.
But if you've got Josh Allen, Ayuk, and Mike Williams, they're really only looking at Josh Allen. You have 3 players that are absolutely in PPR able to put up 30 points a week. That is a huge advantage. And for me, I have to make this trade. Especially because you have Tua, that safety blanket.
It's freaking close though. This is a good one, TS. I like that question. One of my favorite ones we've gotten.
Yeah.
Rainbow in here wanted to know Patterson and Kirk or Amon-Ra. So in a trade, would you prefer Cordero Patterson and Christian Kirk or Amon-Ra St. Brown? Joey, we'll come to you first on this one. What do you think?
I'll go Amon-Ra St. Brown. There's a lot of injuries floating around this trade right here. But yeah, Amon-Ra St. Brown, I've really come around on him this season. I was dead wrong on him coming into the season about if he would be able to be the Lions number 1 wide receiver, but one of the best receivers in football. And so it's Amon-Ra St. Brown for me.
Well, remember last year when everyone said, well, he'll only be good if everyone's hurt. Well, everyone's hurt or traded anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But I think he can be good without that. I'm rolling with Amon-Ra as well, Joey. LaDarius, are you in agreement here? Are you taking the Patterson and Kirk side?
Yeah, I'm taking the Amon-Ra side because, to your point, the injuries. And like I say, it's one of those situations where, like, the Lions are bad, but they're not offensively bad.
Yeah.
So they're just bad on the other side of the ball. They're not. I think they're a top 5, top 10 offense in the league, so they're not bad. But I would definitely take the Amon-Ra thing just because whether it's injuries or whatever reason, I think he's kind of exceeded any expectations anybody had for him going into the season. He feels like a number 1 guy, so I lean that way.
Okay. Yeah.
Damon here had a question for us. Wanted to know, we talked about it a little bit, but if no JT, so no Jonathan Taylor, thoughts on Deion Jackson against New England? And Damon here saying probably won't have the same targets he had with Matty Ice. Dame, I think Deion Jackson is a serviceable start this week. You can plug him in if no JT there. But the upside is really limited with this matchup and with the rookie under center, Sam Ehlinger. Joey, how do you feel about Deion Jackson? Any more optimism than me?
I'm looking at my rankings, and I'm still ranking Jonathan Taylor at this point. But if I were to take him out, I would move Deion Jackson probably a spot ahead of Tyler Algier, who I have at running back 23. So it would put Deion Jackson at my running back 22. So he's an RB2, low end, a flex option for you.
Makes sense. Zachary in here. LaDarius, I wanted to throw this one to you. Zachary said, I have 2 possible trades: DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams, and Khalil Herbert for Cooper Kupp. So both those Lions running backs and Khalil Herbert for Cooper Kupp, or DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams for. Can we all just determine here that we like CeeDee Lamb better than Chris Olave, so I don't have to read the Olave part of this?
Yeah.
Is everyone on board with that, or is Olave above Lamb for anyone with Michael Thomas out?
No.
Okay, so for Lamb and JT. So Swift Jamal for Lamb and JT, or Swift Jamal and Herbert for Kupp. Where are you going here, LaDarius?
Jeez. I mean, if you could tell me that I could get Cooper Kupp for Swift, Jamal Williams, and Khalil Herbert, I mean, I'd lean that way. I mean, I just lean that way. Because to me, just because it's Cooper Kupp, and sometimes I just like it because when I look at the other deal here, I'm looking at Swift, Jamal for Olave, Lamb, and JT. I I wouldn't do. I mean, it's not a bad trade, but Swift, Jamal, Khalil Herbert for Cooper Kupp. Yeah, I that's
You're
a
taking
trade
that side.
yeah,
You want to
I'm
add
leaning
Cooper
that
Kupp
way.
to your team.
Yeah.
What about you, Joey? Which one of these would you be taking, if either?
So yeah, I'm probably. Oh man,
Yeah.
it's tough because Lamb and JT. Like if JT can come back even in the next week, I mean, you've got one of the best running backs in football, plus a wide receiver that I absolutely love in CeeDee Lamb. And I do feel like sending away Swift, Jamal, and Khalil Herbert is really taking away your RB depth. And yeah, you're getting Cooper Kupp. But I would like to know, what other running backs do you have, Zach?
Yeah. That would be curious. Yeah.
I hate to say give me more context, but I feel like for this trade I would need it, because that you're sending away a lot of running back depth for Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
And I love Cooper Kupp. Probably should have been the number one overall pick in every league this year.
Yeah.
But I don't want to cripple your team to do that.
I am fine with either of these trades if what Joey said is true. If you got the depth to back it up. Like in a vacuum, I like the Lamb and JT one better because I don't know your team. Know what I mean? Like just plug it onto any random team. I think that one works out for you more often. You're not giving up as much depth, and you get a running back in return. You get that JT, you get that Lamb. Now, if you've got the depth and you just need to upgrade a wide receiver, and Cooper Kupp is the best wide receiver for fantasy football, I got no problems making that, but you gotta have the depth.
Yep.
Scampers wanted to know, half PPR need to start 2. Tyler Boyd versus Carolina, Gabe Davis or Devin Singletary going against the New York Jets, or Devonta Smith tonight in Houston. Joey, which 2 are you rolling out there?
I'm going to go Gabe Davis and Boyd. I do like Devonta Smith tonight. I've kind of said that I think this might be a sneaky game for him tonight. Maybe like 5 receptions, like 70 yards and a touchdown, like a nice performance for him. But I don't think the Eagles are going to need to score too many points tonight. So it's going to be Gabe Davis and Tyler Boyd for me.
LaDarius, which 2 are you plugging in there? Do you agree with Joey, or are you going with a different 2?
I definitely like the Gabe Davis. That's definitely one. The tricky part is I'm stuck between Boyd and Smith, and listening to Joey and all his wisdom.
Well, that was nice.
We'll put the word infinite wisdom in front of it to make it look more spicy.
Spicy
on the
Simon's gone. He's done.
Yeah, it was the infinite spicy that it got too hot, and then yeah. But I mean, I think Devontae, like to your point, he could have a very sneaky good game. I think the Texans, for as bad as they are, they're not terrible defensively. Mm-hmm. So he's not going to go for, like, people think, oh, he's going to go. No, I kind of like maybe 5-6 receptions, kind of get 70 to 75 range, maybe even maybe a touchdown, maybe. But so I would go with Devontae Smith, and I would kind of go with Gabe Davis. I really like Gabe Davis.
Love it.
Kind of guy who he gets lost in the shuffle, but he's making a big name this season, and I like him. So we'll go with Gabe.
Love it. All right, Lucius. Let's see. Lucius saying, have an owner that wants Pittman off the team due to injuries. He has Cordell Patterson, and he also has Debo on his team. Who should I start in half PPR leagues? Thanks. Oh, Simon's back. Simon, what do you think?
Pittman. He has Cordell Patterson. He also has Debo on his team. Who should I target in a half PPR league? He'll trade you Debo for Pittman. I'll take Debo. If you need a running back, you can draft or you can trade for Cordell Patterson. I don't mind either of those trades. I'm just a little bit nervous trading for Patterson because we haven't seen it since the injury, right? Like he's an older running back coming back off an injury on a team that, well, granted, is more competitive than I thought they were going to be. Probably isn't a contender this year, and may want to see what they have out of these rookies a little bit more. Know what I mean? Like, let's keep giving Algier, let's keep giving Huntley this work, see if one of those guys can be the guy going forward. I'm targeting Debo. Patterson's fine if you need a running back, but if you don't have like a dying need, I'm going for Debo. Cool. What about you, LaDarius? Is it Patterson or Debo that you're trying to trade Pittman for?
I mean, it's boy. Everything you kind of said is true because you're being the Falcons fan. All these Falcons questions are coming from. I guess it's no coincidence. I guess, but but I think your point, which is very important about the Falcons' run game, It's about the triumvirate of Patterson, Huntley, and Algier. Algier, I really like. I like when the guy out of coming out of BYU. So if you kind of ask me, I'd lean toward your order. I'd say Debo. I mean, if it's a pressing kind of situation, if it's an all hands on deck situation, sure. But to me, a running back coming off an injury, we don't know what we're gonna get.
Right.
You
Joey,
don't know.
Are you going Patterson or Debo, Joey, in this trade?
Debo.
We got triple Debo right here. Uncle Fester want to know PPR, which 3 running backs? ETN, Josh Jacobs, Damian Pierce, Deonta Foreman, or Deion Jackson? This one is easy for me. It's going to be those first 3 guys. It's going to be Travis Etienne, it's going to be Josh Jacobs, and it's going to be Damian Pierce. Do you guys agree?
Yes. And Uncle Fester. Or is it UNC Fester? Because
it's probably UNC Fester.
Yeah. I see the Tar Heel.
So Tar Heel Fester. Go to the Jonathan Taylor manager and get an upgrade at wide receiver. Send him Deion Jackson plus like wide receiver, let's say 3, and get yourself a wide receiver 2. Upgrade your team with a situation you have where you have Deion Jackson, because once Taylor's back, he's not going to probably be very useful.
Absolutely. But great job with your running back core, Uncle Fester. Yeah. This is beautiful. Albert wants to know Joshua Palmer or Rondale Moore, full PPR. That's a spicy question. That's a spicy tomato. Yeah. LaDarius, which one are you starting, Joshua Palmer or Rondale Moore?
Oh, boy. I guess you know what? I'm gonna go Rondale Moore, and it's not a knock against Joshua Palmer, but it's Rondale Moore. I just kind of see more if we're talking about upside. Not saying Joshua Palmer doesn't have any or hasn't had any, but if it's full PPR, I'm going with Rondale Moore. Once again, it's 50-50, but I lean toward which one do I think moving forward. That's the mindset I have, thinking in the long term and just equally as the short term. So I go with Rondale Moore.
I like what you said. The full PPR makes a difference here. Rondale Moore gets a lot of those low ADOT targets, but he does get a lot of them. I think it's super close, and I think Joshua Palmer's a good start, but I'm rolling out Moore as well. What about you, Joey?
I'm gonna go against you guys because I'm the heel.
Yes.
Yeah. He's the
For me, it's Joshua Palmer. I mean, with Keenan Allen's gone, it's a slam dunk Joshua Palmer for me. Although I will not play Joshua Palmer in DFS because I feel like that's the free space of the week, and I don't know if it's gonna work out. Because really the benefactor of Keenan Allen being gone this season has been Gerald Everett. It's not been Joshua Palmer. To the point where I was very wrong on a choose your player on our Sunday morning show where I said start Joshua Palmer. He's going to be one of the best players in fantasy this weekend. He put up like 5 points. And that was the situation where Keenan Allen was gone. Now Mike Williams is gone as well, so he's going to get a little bit more work, but it's going to be Joshua Palmer for me. I'm going to go back to the well one more time for him.
Mr. Scambers wants to know half PPR need 2 Singletary at the New York Jets, Curtis Samuel versus the Minnesota Vikings, Thielen versus the Washington Commanders, or Eno Benjamin versus Seattle. LaDarius, which 2 are you throwing out there?
I'm gonna go Thielen.
Mm-hmm.
It's close with those other guys. It gets tough after that.
Yeah, because once again, it's like the whole thing with Mark Andrews. It's the gap issue, where like I think Thielen stands out. Boy, I will go. Maybe begrudgingly, I'll go. You know what? I'll go Singletary.
I don't mind that. I think I'm rolling out the 2 wide receivers from that game. I think I'm rolling out Curtis Samuel and Adam Thielen.
That's what I was split between. I'm
calling it a day. Joey, who are you rolling out in this one?
I'm going to go Samuel Thielen.
Yeah, Samuel Thielen.
2 wide receivers. I don't hate Singletary at all. I can't wait to see him beat out James Robinson because that's what Singletary does. They bring in running backs and he beats them out. So looking forward to seeing it happen again.
Every single time. Grim fan said Olave or Duvernay this week. Joe, are you plugging in Olave or Duvernay?
Olave.
Oh, it's Olave for me as well. Yum.
Darius,
are you rolling out Olave or are you rolling out Duvernay?
I think the only answer is Olave.
Olave, triple Olave. Bronco Plays. What's up, Bronco Plays? Thanks for joining us today. Wants to know, 8-man standard league wants us to look at their team. Quarterback is Lamar Jackson. Running back is Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, and Cordero Patterson. They've got T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Rondale Moore, and Devonta Smith at wide receiver. Juju as well, and tight end is Mark Andrews. What do you think, Joey? 8-man standard league.
So here's what I want you to do. I want you to go out and get another running back. Patterson is your running back 3 with the injuries, a little concerning. Love Cook and Kamara, but go out and get yourself a running back 3. Just look at your receivers to see if you can trade away.
You can maybe
it's an 8-man league, so that look at that waiver wire. There might be somebody out there that you can just fill in.
You might be able to pick someone up who you can start off the waiver wire. I think you're right, Joe. I think that's the point. And if you can upgrade your wide receiver in an 8-man league, I'm going to be honest, is probably a little bit weaker than the average wide receiver core in your league.
Yeah.
But Boyd did get buoyed by the Jamar Chase injury, so you're going to be riding that for a couple weeks. But Chase will be back, so maybe look for an additional wide receiver as well that you can plug into that starting lineup to upgrade your roster.
You have to get elite in 8-man leagues. It's paramount that you get elite at the positions, and
you got to get the
elite
stars.
You are elite at 2 positions right now, and that's tight end and quarterback.
Yep.
And so let's work on the running backs and wide receivers.
LaDarius, I wanted to throw this one to you. Kia wanted to know, would y'all recommend Tua or Geno? So Tua Tagovailoa or Geno Smith this week at quarterback. Who are you rolling out there?
I'm going to go Tua.
You're going to roll out Tua. What about you, Joey?
It's Mr. Tua for me as well.
It is Tua Tagovailoa for me as well, but that is not an anti-Geno take.
No, not at all.
Just
top
a
12
pro
quarterback.
Tua take. Geno is very startable this week. Congratulations on having good quarterback options. JJ Keats, what's up, JJ? Said, do I take JT and Deontay Johnson for Joe Mixon? They're sitting at 4-4. So an injured Jonathan Taylor plus Deontay Johnson for Joe Mixon. Joey, are you making this trade?
I don't know if I am. If you're 4-4, you need to get a win now. And if JT doesn't start this week, he could be really hurting. And Mixon, I like the way he's playing. I hate to say I don't think I can make this trade.
It sucks, but I think you're right, Joey. I know Mixon's been inefficient as well because of that Bengals offensive line, but he's still getting all the work and he's still putting up fantasy points. And he's hurt. I'm just don't trade for hurt players if you can avoid it. If you can. If
you're 6-2, I smash this trade, and I'm happy to have it. It's just, oh man,
slipping to 4-5.
We do have an extra week before playoffs, though. Like that, we got that last year, and you really saw teams using that extra week to get that extra little playoff push. Man, I still can't do it though.
What about you, LaDarius? Are you making this move or no? You with Joey?
No. It's to me the biggest thing in that question was the record. Because if we had if we're looking at 5-3, you'd lean 6-2. You're not even thinking about it. You're just you're smashing it. And I think, like I say, JT's health is too big of a factor. And you're 4-4. You need to win. Just stay the course. It sounds like political discord, but just stay the course. Just stay the course.
Give up. Stay the course. We had some more questions in here. TX416 wanted to know, it'd be tough to play Jeff Wilson this week, right? Joey, it'd be pretty tough to play him, right?
I'm not the coach of the Dolphins, so it'd be really tough for me to play him. But as a fantasy manager, it'd be tough for me to play him as well.
Yeah, I don't have any confidence plugging Jeff Wilson in. What about you, LaDarius?
Yeah, we'll make it a 3.
Leave him on your bench if you can. Grim fan wants to know, is Mike Bandy worth a start this week? LaDarius, do you have any interest in starting Mr. Mike Bandy?
Personally, I don't have an interest in it.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Go ahead, Simon.
I just don't see, I understand that multiple wide receivers are out for the Chargers, but I don't think that means that Mike Bandy is just suddenly relevant. I know there's been a little bit of hype coming out, but I just don't think I don't see it happening. I'm not going to roll him out there.
I'm wrong. I've seen the Mike Bandy question come up a couple times today, and why that kind of surprises me is because DeAndre Carter has been on the waiver wire in a lot of my leagues, and I would much rather play DeAndre Carter this week over Mike Bandy. So I would say, Graham, go look, and if DeAndre Carter's there, that's a better option than Bandy.
Yeah, I mean, he did see 6 targets last week, right? But he got negative yards on his 6 targets. So I don't think they're going to try to force feed him the ball this week as well. Yeah, someone needs to turn him around and just point him in the right direction, and then 6 targets will be money.
Did he have negative 6 yards total last week, Mike Bandy?
Let me look up his stats, but I saw that he had negative yardage last week off of 6 targets. So let's see.
You could start me over Mike Bandy if that's true, because I would get you more points technically.
6 targets, negative 5 yards. So he had 6 targets, 1 reception for negative 5 yards last week.
Yeah.
So he had half a point then in PPR.
He had half a point in PPR.
Don't start me over Mike Bandy then.
He turned 6 targets into half a point. That's impressive, Mr. Bandy, but not in the way that we're looking for. TX had just picked up Duvernay yesterday, and I just picked up Likely. Pitts is their tight end. Gus may not play this week, and he was my RB2. I only have Jeff Wilson available and 1 move left for the week. What to do? So this is the person who was asking about starting Jeff Wilson. Joey, are you starting Jeff Wilson in this scenario, or are you using your last waiver move to pick up another running back?
I want to know who those running backs are.
Yeah.
Deion Jackson sitting on the waiver wire. Are you picking him up?
I'd rather play
Jeff Wilson.
You got Deion 1 Jackson. Move to make. Go grab Deion Jackson, and if you were lucky and Taylor sits, you've got a startable option.
There we go. Yeah, that's a tough one, TX. We got a question from JP. Said, hey, guys, just traded Waddle, Irv Smith, and Gus Edwards for Kelsey and Jamar Chase. They've got Brady, Miles Sanders, Justin Jefferson, Tyler Boyd, Waller, and Gibson, hoping to trade for Kyler Murray. Is he worth it? So first of all, nice trade, I think. Jalen Waddle, Irv Smith, and Gus Edwards for Kelsey and Jamar Chase. If you've got a winning record and you can hold on to Jamar Chase that long, then I like it. But LaDarius, do you think trying to upgrade to that quarterback position from Brady to Kyler is worth it in a 1 quarterback league?
That's, see, I really like Kyler. But if we're talking 1 quarterback league and I have Brady,
it's tough. It's tough to move for Kyler because he's been underperforming a little bit as well this year, right?
Yeah, so it's both of them hasn't necessarily knocked it out of the park. So it's kind of, I mean, is he worth it? Possibly. But if you ask me, would I trade for Kyler Murray? To me, like I said, I don't know what you would give up.
That's what I'm thinking. I think you're going to have to give up more than Kyler is going to benefit your team. I think you'll make a negative move. What I would be doing is I would check the waiver wire for Justin Fields. See if Justin Fields is out there and you can plug him in. He's still sitting out there. People got that stank from the first 3 weeks, and they don't realize that the dude's been a QB1 for the last 5. He's been killing it.
Yeah.
Fields and Brady would be a great tandem to run to the end of the season. Just playing the matchups for them both. I'm going to talk some sense into Brady this weekend, but I'm going to the game. But
yes, please do, Joey.
I'm going to
killing me.
I'm going to have a conversation with him.
Speaking of Fields, LaDarius, would you start Geno Smith or Justin Fields? Which of these quarterbacks are you rolling out this week?
Holy babe.
If people coming in with the heat, Geno Smith or Justin Fields. And Justin Fields is playing the Miami Dolphins. And, of course, we've got the Seahawks going up against the Arizona Cardinals this week. So not bad matchups for either one of them. Not horrible. Yeah. Who's it going to be?
I'm going to go Geno. And the gap is not super to your point. I like both matchups, but I think it's just something about those NFC West games. They're not exactly low scoring, if played correctly. So I'd lean Geno, but once again, if you have Fields, that's not a bad start either. But me personally, I'd go Geno.
I'll lean Geno in this one as well, but it is very close. I like both these guys as starts. And LaDarius, you hit the exact point. This is going to be a high scoring game. It's tied for the highest total on this weekend, sitting there at 49.5 points on the FanDuel Sportsbook. And I think it's going to go over that. So I'll roll Geno out in what should be a shootout between them and the Cardinals. Joey, are you going Geno or Fields?
I'll go Geno. They're back-to-back in my rankings.
They're right there, aren't they? Like that one, it's so close, but it comes down to that. I'll ride the game script narrative. Jeb in here said, I made 3 trades. What's up, Jeb? Please clap, everyone. Please clap. Jeb said, I made these 3 trades: Hurts, Chuba, Hunt, and Odell for Mixon, Cooper, and Dak.
Oh,
nice. That is hot, Jeb. Then Barkley and Gabe Davis for Diggs and Herbert. Okay, that's tough, giving up Saquon Barkley, but at least you got Diggs in return. And then Godwin, Ertz, and Connor for Andrews and Rondale Moore. Maybe DJ Moore, not sure which
wheeling
more.
and dealing
Jeb,
this week.
Nice job with your trades. That is beautiful. He said, I received the later group of guys for all trades. The only guy that remained on my team is Aaron Jones. How do y'all feel about it? Sorry, I know it's a lot. So a trading machine, Jeb. Joey, how do you feel about it?
Okay, that's a lot. Let's unpack them one by one.
Yeah, so Mixon, Cooper, and Dak is who he received from the first one.
So Mixon, Cooper, Dak, you knocked that trade out of the park. A+. I love Hurts, but what you got basically for Hurts, in my opinion, is fantastic. Well done there. The Barkley and Gabe Davis for Stephon Diggs and Khalil Herbert, I don't like that trade. I'm just going to be honest with you. But I think you have the depth from the first trade that you made to make it work to have Diggs. So you're doing good. And then you got, you sent Andrews away. Who's your tight end? Ertz. Okay. I think overall there's a lot of moving pieces in this. Overall, I do think you won this trade. All 3 of these trades. You won 2 out of 3 trades. Sorry. But overall, I think you're a winner in all this.
And that's the thing with trading. The larger your sample size, the more likely you are to come out on top if you're a good trader. You're not every trade is going to work in your favor, but Jeb, you're playing the trade game right. Keep trading, keep moving, keep moving pieces. This is hot. Guys, we're going to keep on answering your questions. I know we are starting to approach the end here, a little bit more than 10 minutes left, but I just want to remind everyone, if we do not get to your question, you can throw them in our Discord after this, and we'll do our best to get to any and all questions that you throw in there. We'll put a link in the chat before the end of the show, and would love to have you join and ask us your fantasy questions over there. But the next question coming in here from XM Tucci said, should I trade away Dameon Pierce, Joshua Palmer, and A-Rob to receive? Oh, we talked about this one, didn't we? We hit this one already, but it looks like maybe they weren't here for the answer. This was one that was tough with the move to give up Dameon Pierce, right? I believe, LaDarius, you were on the Olave Myers-Henderson side, if I remember correctly, or did we answer this on the last show?
I think it might have been the last show. I don't think
the last show. Gotcha. Yeah. LaDarius, which side of this trade would you be on? Dameon Pierce, Joshua Palmer, and Allen Robinson for Chris Olave, Jacoby Myers, and Darrell Henderson?
See, I'm only looking at 2 names. I'm looking at Dameon Pierce and looking at Chris Olave. I'm not knocking Palmer. I'm not knocking A-Rob. I'm not knocking Jacoby Myers, who I really like. He's helped me in fantasy, so I'm not going to knock him either. Oh, boy. All these fire questions. You know what? I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it.
I'm with you. I got to keep the Pierce. I got to keep the Pierce side here. I got to keep the Pierce side. Henderson's nowhere comparable, and the wide receivers, while it is an upgrade, it's not a huge upgrade. And I'm keeping the running back. I'm keeping the running back on that one. Joey, we'll throw
this. Such a hard
one
question. It's. I was looking at it again for the second time today, and I'm still I struggle with it.
It is a tricky one. It is a tricky one. JJ Keaton here said, what about Olave for Deontay Johnson and Jonathan Taylor? I would have McLaurin as my backup. So, Joey, what about moving Olave for Johnson and Jonathan Taylor?
That I would do. I like Chris Olave a lot, but you're getting enough of a replacement in Deontay Johnson, and then you have Jonathan Taylor. Wow, yeah, if you can make that trade, make it. And then you still have McLaurin. Woo!
Yeah.
JJ.
LaDarius, you on board with this one?
Yeah. I mean, the whole key is that as long as you have the McLaurin as the backup, because I was going to ask, well, who do you have if you're getting rid of all? If you have McLaurin, look, it's one, like I said earlier, some things you don't overthink it. Just hit the send button and just go for it. So yeah, I really like that deal.
Also, I see Fantasy Dog hanging out here in the chat. What's up, Fantasy Dog? Woof, woof. Welcome in. Glad to have you here. JP had a question for us. Hey, guys, just traded Waddle, Irv Smith, and Gus Edwards. And we hit this one, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we did.
We already hit this one, JP. That is my bad. But he also came in here and said, this was for the Kyler trade. Said trade may include CeeDee Lamb, Gesicki, Murray. And then on the other side is Brady, Boyd, Waller, and Gibson. Want Kamara from the guy, but he is reluctant. Is reluctant on that trade. Joey, what are you doing here if you're JP and you're trying to get Murray? Are there any of these pieces you're moving for Murray? So they've got Brady, Boyd, Waller, and Gibson. I don't think this is this isn't the trade. These are just pieces that the trade could include, it looks like.
So I would rather have Murray and the CeeDee Lamb side of these players that are on the screen right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think so.
Pretty handedly too. Even though I do like Tyler Boyd. Darren Waller, I don't know what's going on with Darren Waller. He's practiced. I don't expect him. I don't even know if he's going to step on the field this week. Darren Waller could end up being the biggest bust tight end of this year due to his draft capital. He really could, because he's not done anything for fantasy managers. I would, if I can get Murray and CeeDee Lamb for Brady, Boyd, Gibson, and Waller, I'm doing that.
Also, James coming in here with a question and the super chat. James, my man, thank you so much, and we will be glad to answer this question for you. He said 1 QB redraft PPR. His quarterback is Jalen Hurts. Running back, he's got Kenneth Walker, Travis Etienne, Damian Pierce, Khalil Herbert, and Kenyon Drake. First of all, that is a hot running back core right there, and a lot of young talent. Wide receiver, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Christian Kirk, Jerry Jeudy, George Pickens, and Kadarius Toney. Week 11 buys are going to kill me with Kenneth Walker, Etienne, and Kirk. Should I trade Etienne or Kenneth Walker III for someone similar or start Herbert? So, James, here's where I go on this. Your team is fantastic. Do not make it worse because you're worried about a bye week. Do not sacrifice weeks 9, weeks 10, weeks 12, weeks 13, weeks 14, and 15 just to make up for week 11. Like, you have a good enough backup in Khalil Herbert, a dude that's seeing more and more work in this Bears offense, that I'm just rolling with Herbert or Pierce. I'm assuming Pierce is probably in your flex. So I'm rolling with Khalil Herbert instead of trying to trade. That being said, a trade's not off the table. Just do not accept lower value because you're worried about the bye week. Make sure you're getting something reciprocal in return. Joey, how do you feel on this one for James?
If you were to send away Etienne or Kenneth Walker, because I'm assuming you're wanting to grab a wide receiver, you need to hit a home run with it. Shoot for the sky. Etienne for DeAndre Hopkins, and nothing less. Like, you go for a top tier wide receiver, because that's what running backs right now should be drawing. So, and you're not going to get Justin Jefferson probably, but you know what? Let me look at something real quick. Who are listen, Damian Pierce, please don't listen to what I'm about to say. See if you can float Pierce out for Jamar Chase. You've got enough depth right now. You could make this work. It's risky. It's risky. And if you have the record to back this up, see if you can get Jamar Chase. Because if you go into the playoffs with Kenneth Walker, Travis Etienne, Cleo, and then St. Brown, Jamar Chase, Christian,
and Jalen Hurts at quarterback,
you're gonna win a championship. Let's go.
That's hot. Would you make that trade, LaDarius? Would you trade Damian Pierce for Jamar Chase? Looking at this roster,
thank you for all the context, by the way.
I everything Joey said was on point. When you look at the value, don't settle for less. Don't undervalue. Because sometimes in trades, you're going to have someone who's going to think that, they don't really know the value of XY player. No. If you could swing Pierce, because it's happened in one of my leagues, if you can swing Pierce for a top, like you may not be able to get like a Cup or a Jefferson. That's maybe, we got to bring the moon down a little bit here. And if you can get a deal, if you can get somebody, you slam the deal. But to your point, don't panic about buys. Don't let the bye week sacrifice your team long term, because it's all about long term.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So that's kind of where I stand. It's the bye week. Think long term, and if you can flip it, do it.
And James letting us know. Additionally, down here, tight end is Pitts, Njoku on IR. Okay. Well, you can roll Pitts out until Njoku's back, and then you've got a stud tight end in David Njoku.
I think Arthur Smith was getting scared for his job, and so Kyle Pitts was getting used last week. So.
That's exactly what I thought,
Yeah.
Joey, too. I was like, this is Arthur Smith going like, if they're going to fire me, it's not going to be because I didn't throw Pitts the ball 8 times a game.
Yeah.
James, I want to earn this $20 from you. So ETN Walker, I want you to call the other manager on the phone, pick up the phone, and we're doing this like 2003 style. And you say, listen, I've got Kenneth Walker and I've got Travis Etienne. If he's got Stephon Diggs, like call the Diggs owner. That is who I would be targeting here. Because for me, he's probably the wide receiver 3 rest of the season. But Pierce for Chase too. But swing for the fences, man. I think that's the only way to do this.
Yeah. Keep on swinging. And do not accept less because you're worried about bye week. That bye week, I don't care. It is what it is, and I imagine your team's probably pretty good. You probably got a pretty good record, Mr.
And congratulations on your graduation. It looks like you're about to fling a hat.
Yeah,
yeah. Congratulations, James.
Tell us where you graduated from, James.
Everyone's so excited.
And we'll try to sing the fight song too.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, unless
we're gonna earn that $20.
Unless it's Clemson, I'm not gonna know the fight song. Or you know what? I know the Notre Dame one too because my grandmother would just march around the house singing 3 cheers for old Notre Dame. Just like every time they scored, my like 5-foot grandmother would just like drunkenly chant around the living room.
Right now, I'm hoping that he went to Notre Dame so we can hear that wonderful ditty one more time.
Yes, I think that's what we all want.
Let's answer some questions.
Bam and you said, guys, I traded Jonathan Taylor, Deion Jackson, and Juju for Dameon Pierce, Singletary, and Curtis Samuel. Thoughts? Joey, how do you feel about this trade?
You're giving away the Colts backfield and Juju Smith-Schuster for the most beautiful man in pro football, Dameon Pierce, Devin Singletary, and Curtis Samuel. I think that you are getting 3 players and he's getting 2, really. I like this trade, Bam. Hey, Bam. How's it going?
Bam, I think this is very fair. I think this is a very fair trade. And if you need a win, I would move JT. I think you maybe could get a little bit more, but Dameon Pierce, you know what? His value currently might be higher than JT's in redraft. Like it's up there. They're probably comparable value-wise. So I'm cool with it. LaDarius, how do you feel on this trade for Bam?
Yeah. Everything like with Joey's point, it's basically he won the trade. You're giving up the Colts backfield. You're getting Juju. You're getting Dameon Pierce, who I also love as well, former Gator. So I automatically love Dameon Pierce. And so I think it's to me it's a very good trade because, like I say, in essence, JT's health. So yeah, you definitely kind of won the trade here because sometimes it's about quantity, sometimes over quality, sometimes. So in this case, I think you kind of want with JT's health. So I think it's a good trade.
Adam in here wants to know, should I start with Rashad White or Alexander Madison this week? Full PPR. Joey, who's it going to be for you?
Alexander Madison.
It's also Alexander Madison for me. What about you, LaDarius?
Yeah, I don't know if I could sing it, but I'll go Madison as well. I was in chorus, but I'll save the voice for down the road.
Did you go to Palm Bay High School?
Yes, I did.
I would have gone there if I still lived in Broward County. That's funny. Good.
See, yeah.
Guys, one more question, and then there was a question that was asked earlier by our friend Strong Style Ninja.
We're going to get to it. I said save for the end.
But this question first, last fantasy question for us today. Bronson wants to know trade Sutton and Lazard for Debo. LaDarius, are you making this trade, Sutton and Lazard?
Holy vey. Because it's funny, I was trying to make a trade for Debo in one of my other leagues. So, trade Sutton for, you know what? Because like I say, the context. But if it's just this, and I'm getting no context here. Sutton and Lazard, yeah.
I'm doing it as well, LaDarius.
Yeah, I make the trade. Yeah. I mean,
Debo's the best player in this trade. Lazard's been good for Aaron Rodgers, right? Sutton has been garbage though recently. Get the best player. I 100% agree with you, LaDarius. Also, James and you're letting us know currently 5-3. I knew you had a good record and said, go blue, U of M.
Oh, Michigan.
You know what, James? I may not have gone to Michigan, but all of my family goes to Ohio State, and so I hate them. Yeah. I am an anti-Ohio State fan because they are nasty and mean fans. Sorry if I'm pissing off the Ohio State fans.
Sorry, Jeff Bell.
Could have just been my cousins. What I should have said is my cousins are nasty and mean Ohio State fans. Shout out Hunter or Madeline if you guys are listening over here. But I'll be cheering for Michigan this year against Ohio State. And hopefully, as a Clemson fan, would love to meet Michigan in the playoffs. That's a team that I've wanted to watch Clemson play. It's like one of the blue bloods left that I haven't in my watching career seen Clemson play against. Here, we're going to hit this question real quick before we go, guys. Strong Style Ninja wanted to know favorite pro wrestler right now. I'm going to sit this one out because I'm not a pro wrestling fan and leave it to the two guys here who know what they're talking about. Whoever wants to go first, favorite pro wrestler right now.
No, I'll let you go first.
Jay White is the greatest pro wrestler on the planet right now. He just cut a promo in Japan a month ago. He didn't speak a word. He just clapped because in Japan, they are not allowed to clap. They're not allowed to cheer. They're not allowed to breathe. Oh no. All they're allowed to do is clap because of, with COVID, another COVID outbreak. Jay White is such a great heel right now. His in-ring performance is bar none until November 11th. The Kenny Omega comes back, but we're not there yet. So right now it would be the Switchblade Jay White, which is the t-shirt I'm wearing.
It's one.
There's no wrong answer to this question.
Yeah, there's no wrong. And I knew the answer based on the shirt. I'm like, I was just waiting. When I saw the hands like this, I'm like, I know where we're going, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
My favorite pro wrestler. Well, I got two. I know they say wrestlers, but I'll take the plural route here. I'll go. I like Kenny Omega.
Kenny Omega.
I think
he's my all-time favorite. I don't.
There's something about Kenny Omega, and I really, really was confident, like watching AEW and just seeing that just made me go, yeah. I can't remember the specific match offhand, but it made me feel confident in that. And then another guy who I think who's been doing it right all year is Seth Rollins. Yeah. Like Seth Rollins to me can do absolutely no wrong. And it just proves the point that you don't have to be in the title scene to be relevant.
Yeah.
Because so many people say, well, you have to have a championship. No. Seth Rollins, if you look at who he feuded with Cody Rhodes. WWE trusted Seth Rollins to feud with Cody Rhodes. Don't focus on he lost all three. Don't focus on that. Focus on the quality of those matches. Great stuff. And then now he's the United States champion. And then that belt is only going to get elevated. And anybody who steps in the ring against Seth Rollins, I'm not going to say relevant. I don't want to knock down the other superstars, but it means that you're trusted to face Seth Rollins, and that means something. I think when you put him and Roman Reigns, to me, the gap is not that far. So to me, it's definitely Kenny Omega, Seth Rollins, and if we go for a female wrestler, I'm a big Bianca Belair and Bayley fan.
It's hard to beat her.
Ulysses coming in here. Fine, Ulysses, you convinced us. We'll answer another one. Said full PPR, 12 team, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receiver, 1 tight end, and 2 flex. Trade Najee, Knox, and Godwin for Nick Chubb. Looking at the rest of this team, I have Josh Allen, Josh Jacobs, Alvin Kamara, Chris Olave, Alec Pierce, Zach Ertz, everything else mid. If I am you, looking at your other wide receivers right here, this is a little bit tricky with Chris Godwin, but I still think the value's on Nick Chubb. I think I'm making this trade, and I'm going and grabbing Chubb. Joey, what about you?
Knox doesn't even need to be in this trade for me. Like, that's not even a factor.
Right. I'm looking at Najee Godwin for Chubb, not throw in.
And I'll tell you what, I'd make the trade. I wouldn't be happy about it though.
Chubb is the best player in this trade.
I hate losing Godwin, but I get it.
Yeah. LaDarius, are you making this trade as well, or are you staying put?
Yeah, no. As a Nick Chubb owner, I'd make this trade.
Absolutely. Also, I saw in here a question we answered earlier. Zachary said, please come back to my question. We hit this one, but let's recap what we talked about. The 2 possible trades, remember, were DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams, and Khalil Herbert for Cooper Kupp, or Swift and Jamal for Lamb and JT. LaDarius, I believe if I remember correctly, you were on the Kupp trade. You said if you can get Kupp, right?
I think I was on the contrarian side of this. Yeah.
And then Joey and I were sitting over there in a vacuum. Like, I think he did give us some more info on his team, but I am taking the Lamb and JT side here, Zachary. I'm going to take the Lamb and JT side. Joey, remind me of what you thought on this one.
I asked him to come back and tell me who his receivers were.
Yeah.
Devontae and Amon-Ra are the other wide receivers. And he's also 8-0, if that makes a difference in this trade.
Okay, yeah, you make the Jonathan Taylor trade. You're 8-0. Grab Lamb and JT. You have the room to wait and make the playoff. Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. Guys, thank you everyone for coming in and asking your questions. We had a ton of great questions today. And LaDarius, thank you so much for taking the time to come on and help us answer them.
Always love being on with you guys. Got to do it again soon.
Absolutely.
Guys, if you are not following our guest, go and follow LaDarius on Twitter at LaDarius_Brown. And if we helped you out today, you're enjoying what we do over here, go ahead and hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed to our channel at Front Yard Fantasy. That's going to be it for us today. But myself, Joey, and JL will be live tomorrow morning on the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show. I was like, wait, Joey, did you cancel on me?
Yeah. I'll be honest, I was like, what? Yeah,
Wait,
I'm on
what?
8 to 10 tomorrow. I forgot.
So come hang out with us right here on our YouTube channel or on the Better Sports Network app. Until then, though, we are out of here. We'll see you guys bright and early in the morning. Adios, everyone.